This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Joe. As we prepare for Memorial Day, grab your drink and raise it high as we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation.
Hey, what's up, Trash Talkers? Welcome to another episode of Veteran Trash Talk. It's going to be a little bit different of a show tonight. Not as much trash talk. We're going to take a little bit more serious. We'll introduce our guest more in depth later into the show. But with us is Jason Wheeler and our unpaid intern, Buddy Beckwith. And with us, as always, is Joe and Dave. And we are excited to have you all you guys here. We had a resiliency coach that was going to come on today, and she actually suffered from a heat stroke yesterday, searching for that lost hiker in Hawaii. So she's we hope that Karen gets better, that our prayers are with her. Big shout out to our Veteran Trash Talk team, the guys behind the scenes. You got Suds, you got Matt, you got Andrew, you got Perry. You know, they're the guys behind making it all happen so that us, the talent, can get famous. You know what I mean? That's what really is going to bring in the money. So let's get into the thick of things. Dave's actually going to start us off with a soapbox today. And so we'll say cheers and then stay on. When we cut, there's going to be about a 4-minute video that's going to, honor the guys that we're talking about today. So cheers, guys. Glad to have you on the show. It's on to you, Dave.
Hey, what up, Trash Talk? Thanks for tuning in. So obviously it's Memorial Day, so a lot of thoughts running through my mind. We've had a lot of fun on this show so far. We shared combat stories here. We've promoted veteran-owned businesses, and we've had our laughs and some intense moments. But guys, let's not forget what this weekend is about, specifically Monday. For some, it's a day off work. I mean, shit, who doesn't like days off work, right? But for some, this weekend is filled with pain and tears. Memorial Day is meant to honor those that paid that ultimate sacrifice, the ones that raised that right hand and said, "It is who I will defend. And if required, lay down my life for the United States of America." And today we're going to talk about some of our fallen brothers so we continue to honor them and keep their legacy going. Rest in peace, guys. These warriors you're getting ready to hear about today paid that ultimate sacrifice. The pain of loss is at times unbearable. Grief is fucking complicated emotion and affects us all in different ways. But I can say for myself, guys, and I've been there, it always helps to talk to somebody about that grief instead of keeping it in. That's why we've created this page. Because when you keep it in, then your mind goes into those dark places and they fucking suck. I've been there myself. So I'm asking anyone who's watching this, reach out to a veteran. Sometimes just sitting down and engaging with a veteran or with families who have gone through that pain of losing a loved one goes a long way. You'd be surprised how many veterans live in your freaking communities who bear psychological and physical scars of war. Long story short, I'm honored to be surrounded by my brothers on this day. And if we can continue to build this community for our fallen brothers and sisters and provide an outlet, fucking mission accomplishment. Over to you, Nick.
Okay, thanks, Dave. I mean, wow. It's never really hard following Dave. But Dave showed a lot of resilience in his Ali-like return to the soapbox after his previous knockout. We'll all have another redemption story tonight too, as we got Buddy Beckwith. Hopefully his redemption story kind of sticks hard, just like Dave's just did. So my soapbox is kind of all over the place tonight, but it'll get serious pretty quick. Tonight, we, like Dave said, we honor our fallen, and then also the Gold Star mothers. There's a few of them watching tonight, and we just want to say cheers to you. All right, cheers to the Gold Star mothers and fathers. And we love you, and we'll support you with anything you need. As we talk about suicide as well, and I know that there's people that are watching, we've all experienced suicide in many different ways. And some people, it's their brother, some people, it's their sister, some people, it's their daughters, uncles, whatever it may be. And as you grow up, and as I was younger, I would get so mad about suicide. I would just get so mad at the person, who did it. And it's almost like I don't want to put him in the same category, him or her in the same category as somebody who, died in combat. And that's what would go through my head. But as I grew up And as I started to realize, they just lost a different kind of battle. They lost the battle, and a lot of them, they come home, they wonder why they're home and their buddies aren't, and they struggle with it every day. And it's like that. Now what's actually starting to irritate me more than the actual act of suicide is it's 2020, guys. Like, we can connect just like that. And we have a trash talk page. I mean, there's people on our page that I've never met before that I get into 15, 20 comment, little spats with them. And I know they're having fun. I'm having fun, but they got somebody to talk to. So get on the page, share your stories with us. Share the guys that we want to honor this weekend, that we want to honor on Monday. Before I get to honoring Dutch, I want to reiterate that before you try to hurt yourself, like I said, reach out, man, talk. Just freaking talk. And I want to talk about self-esteem a little bit. And me being an extremely confident guy, I pretty much wanted everything I've done. But there were times that I've had a low self-esteem, and I can count them on my hand. But all those times I had a low self-esteem, I made a freaking really stupid mistake. Every single time. Every single time I got selfish, I thought about myself, and I took myself out of the problem by saying that it's someone else's, and that there's nothing that matters anymore, and all kind of stuff. Now, it didn't go to suicidal for me, but pretty much every dumb thing I've ever done in my life that's really been damaging to other people has been because of my self-esteem. So we get it, guys and girls, we got it. We understand. We've been there. So when you're feeling dark, you ain't alone. Come talk to us. And then with the civilians on Memorial Day, they have a day off. They have a weekend off. We love it. And I want them to party. I want them to have barbecues. I want them, to say, hey, thank you for your service. And, because that gives you the opportunity to say, well, thank you for your support. And remind them that Memorial Day, hey, here's a name. Drink to this guy, because that's what Memorial Day is for. Drink to that. Be a steward of the brotherhood, right, of the sisterhood. Don't be that jackwagon that turns the day into you. All right, the day's not about you. All right, it's not about me. It's not about Buddy. All right, it's about the Gold Star moms and dads. It's about the fallen. And the resiliency, trick is put it in perspective, right? Memorial Day isn't any really different to me than it is any other day. And just like one of these guys, I carry with me every single day. When I go to sleep, I see their faces. When I hear booms at nighttime, like, you see them. So it's hard, but you gotta put it in perspective. And it's like, did you bury your son today? Did you bury your daughter? Most of us are going to say no, right? But there are people that say yes to that, and that's who we honor. Right? So the problems you're going through, the buddies you lost, it's terrible. It hurts everybody. But think about the mom. Think about the dad that had to bury their son or daughter, and all you're going to do is attach more death to that name for that family, and then put that family through all the hurt and then your family through the same hurt that they've been struggling with. So I don't think we can stop suicide, but if we don't do anything about it, it's stupid. So we're gonna try our best. And part of that too, is to honor Dutch. Honor the guys that have fallen. So this story that I'm about to tell you, I've only told to about 3 people in my life. I've kept it kind of in, and there's certain times that, my wife would ask me, why did you buy Rolling Rock today? And it's like, well, that was Dutch's drink. That was Staff Sergeant Estes' drink. And so that's why I drink. Let me tell you about Staff Sergeant Estes for a little bit. We're going to kind of go back and forth in time with the story. He was awarded the Silver Star for his actions in combat that day that he lost his life. And there was an explosion, and people will talk about it maybe a little bit later. There was an explosion, and a Humvee was decimated. 2 of the people were blown out. 2 of our fellow brothers were blown out of the Humvee, and they were on fire. And so Dutch, obviously without hesitation, he's up there. He's up there right away. And I didn't see it. I wasn't there. It was a different platoon. And they, but his gear was melting as he was trying to pull the guys away. That's how hot it was. They had the rounds going off. And he got in there and he got them away. He got Staff Sergeant Stanley. He put the flames out, had him ready to go. Just an absolute hero. And that's where I'm going to stop right there. So as he put out the flames and he had him ready to go, I'll stop there and come back to it later. I'm sure Joe's got the same opinion as me on this, but we had two guys that on the show today that were Staff Sergeants then. And when I got to 2P, when I got with those guys, the Staff Sergeants were giants. They were absolute giants to us. And there was nothing I would do to upset one of them. There was nothing I would do to, be rude to them. I mean, they walked on water to me. I was like, man, those are the guys that I'm going to be someday, and maybe even pass them up. So they were mentors to us. And like I said, 2 of them are on here tonight. Now, Dutch, we'll go back to the deployment. Before he was killed, it was real early in the deployment. And these big monsters of the men, staff sergeants, mortars would start coming down. We got mortared every day. And I didn't know what the hell it was. But sometimes you'd see these guys just standing outside watching it. And I'm like, these guys are crazy. Like, stuff blowing up everywhere, and I'm like, man, what am I supposed to do? I got to stand out there too? Like, I ain't standing out there. Freaking mortar rounds landing, but they obviously had the experience to know that, that they weren't close, they weren't zeroed in yet, anything like that. So I shit you not, I go outside smoking Miami, and I'm sitting right in between the 3rd platoon and 2nd platoon shoes. And all of a sudden, you hear them launch. You hear the doom, 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 and I'm like, all right, I'm tough today. I'm gonna stand out here and I'm gonna be a man and I'm gonna watch these mortars land. Right? Well, they were mortars and they were also rockets. And when it was in slow motion to me, but as Dutch came around the corner, and I'm like, I kind of put my chest up a little bit, like, yeah, here comes freaking duty. Yeah, I'm gonna look cool. I can, like I said, I see it in slow motion, and his mouth is like calling me like bad words, and you're this, you're that, and then he hit me with like the Undertaker's choke slam grip, right? And like I said, this is all slow motion to me, and he picks me up with one arm, and he puts me on the ground, and then drags me into his chew, and a millisecond after that door closed, it felt like the ground went out from under us. It felt like everything went like loud and dusty. And when we went outside, an 82 millimeter mortar had landed precisely where I was standing. Exactly. All right. So, he knew they were close, and I thought I was going to be tough, and he saved my life. So his mom and I have talked. We used to play some Words with Friends, and we've talked for years. And when, she asked me, I tell her the story. I tell her it all the time. And whenever I send her pictures of my daughters, when, they wouldn't be here. That's simple. And then with the Rolling Rocks, what's helped in the past is with the airborne and ranger community, you kind of get attached to the same people for most of your career. So I was stationed with Ed Lee for about 9 years of my career. And every March 5th, he'd come over to my house, and we'd grill steaks, and we'd get Rolling Rock, we'd get Dr. Pepper for Perkins, and we'd have drinks, and we could share, we could talk. But again, like Dave said earlier, there's so many veterans in your community that don't talk to anybody about it. And I was looking up the suicide rates from World War II veterans, and we're a lot higher than them. And it kind of goes into they had something to deal with called the Great Depression before they had a war, so they might have been a little bit more tougher in facing adversity. But there was still a very high rate then. And it was relatively the same in 2001 before the ever-long war started, and these guys were deploying back to back to back to back. And it's just too much. And the being quiet for the World War II guys, the tough guys, it didn't work either. It didn't work for them. Their stats are out there for how many of them killed suicide. But back to Dutch. So there's the boom, there's the explosion, and there he was there. And what he had, you can read the story. I'll post it. I'll post the story on our page after this for a Silver Star. But he had put, when he got him on the stretcher ready to go for a Casevac, and he had himself in that immense heat and the rounds going off, he had put himself on another explosion, another IED, and a secondary explosion, and then he was KIA. So if you're having a party this weekend, today, tomorrow, Sunday, raise a beer, have fun, have a great time, raise it to Dutch, raise it to these guys that we talk about. And then for the veterans, don't make it about you, right? If it's alcohol, I love alcohol. I'm gonna drink, but if you drink too much and start getting stupid, because you're making the day about you, and you're taking it away. If a civilian says Happy Memorial Day, just say thank you, right? Just say thank you. Don't be a jerk. Don't make the day about you. That's all I ask, because this day is about Dutch. This day's about Diane, his mother. The day's about all of them. And so cheers to Dutch. And my daughters are here because of you, and I love you. So on to you, Joe.
Well, I love how the first thing out of Nick's mouth was, "It's not going to be hard following Dave." Well, I can't say the same for following Nick. But I knew that was going to be powerful, and I knew how highly regarded Dutch was to all of us, like Nick said. And if it's emotional or if it's being soft, whatever. I don't know any other way to say it, but like Wheeler was one of the guys I looked up to all those guys, and I think a lot of it was that we respected First Platoon so much. They had a nickname. They were called the Bastards. Like and there was a lot of trash talk back and forth, but I knew I wanted to be like those guys. And it's so in some settings it'd be called fraternization, but in that deployment setting where we were, it was just us. So you forge these bonds, and you forge these rapports with people that maybe you didn't go outside the wire with that guy every day, but he was the breath of fresh air when you came back in, because you guys shared something similar about back home, or whatever it was to keep your mind at peace, and learn something while you were at it. And I truly believe, and I'll say this to the day I die, and I'm sure there's anybody that was deployed with a great unit, that's exactly what Task Force 2 Panther was. And I firmly believe like that was one of the greatest groups of NCOs you could ever have in such a small group. The E6s, like Nick said, we thought they walked on water. We wanted to be where they were at, and we haven't even really gotten into it because it just hasn't come up. But Dave was my first team leader. Nick was a guy I chased because even if I may have had an edge on him, and I'm sure he's going to shake his head right now, he wouldn't let you know it. And we challenged each other, and we always wanted to be better. And guys like Estes and guys like Stan and Wheeler and the guy I'm going to talk about were people we had held in the utmost respect, and just Nick and I were also, we were new to the 82nd Airborne Division altogether. So we stepped into a family, and Dave probably got tired of dropping me and making me do push-ups before I realized the way they do it in the 82nd. Because Nick can tell you, I got my ass kicked quite a bit when I first started because I thought I'd walk into the 82nd and just kind of handle business the way I knew how to. And shoot, it was probably about an hour before Dave was in my room saying, "Wait, is that how you announce when a sergeant walks in?" Well, I'd been in a training unit, so I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I mean, he dropped me instantly, but it was because of the standard that Charlie Company 2 Panther held itself to, and I honestly still believe when I got in, first platoon was the standard in Charlie Company, and we talked a lot of shit, but we definitely tried to follow the lead the example that they set for us. And there's so many things by so many people that can be said about March 5th, and that is not what I'm gonna do today. I mean, I'm here to talk about Justin Rollins, and yes, it is true. He was on that mission. He was first truck, and he was KIA almost instantly. And um, that's not what I want to focus on. though. I want to focus on the day he was born until March 5th, because if you didn't get to meet Justin Rollins, or you didn't get to share a room with him, then I'm sorry, because he was an anomaly type personality. I mean, in a combat theater, he was a walking sitcom. And if you think like, oh, okay, well, he was the class clown. Well, he was also a freaking warrior, and he's also one of my relatives told me, say something about the Purple Heart, say something about the fact that you got one. And I said, well, and hello, Nelly, I love you. But I said, every one of us on there's got one. She goes, well, talk about how diverse that medal can be, and the fact that you got to collect one, and some of your brothers did not. And that's very true. That I think to the guys that got it, like me, Dave and Nick, it doesn't mean anything like those guys did, at all. We joke around and call ours the enemy marksmanship badge. These guys laid down their life, and honestly, to the day that I meet my maker, I'll firmly believe that one of them did that for me. And it's our job, and it's my responsibility to the day I die to shout their story as loud as I possibly can to as many people as I possibly can, because they deserve that much. Because like Nick said about his little girls, who knows if I would have been out in the front yard kicking a soccer ball. And yes, Dave, I kicked a soccer ball around with my son and my. Hey, Nick, we had a soccer match in Iraq, so don't act like you didn't do it. But who knows if we'd be here doing this. And I mean, we saw quite a bit over there, and we never had a day as bad as that. And it tore us up that we had to watch what happened to such a great platoon happen, and we couldn't be there. But it was an incredible group of men, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into the story that I came here to tell, because I could get my eyes red real quick. I got no shame in the fact I'm far enough removed from the military to where getting choked up and having a frog in my throat about it is that's talking about it. I got a tattoo with those guys' name on my back, and honestly, the only reason that I did it is because of how profound. And I said I'd never would have been around a group of men that did something more important in my entire life, and they did it in part for me. And so I remember my father, who's been supportive of everything I've done, even if it was something different than the path that he took. He doesn't have a single tattoo on him. I'll never forget it. He was very supportive of it and said, with all due respect, are you sure you want to carry that with you the rest of your life? And I said, too late. you know, that horse done left the barn. That's there. And I feel like a portion of my life is owed to those men. So um, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the story I came to tell about Justin, and it is definitely an incredible one. And if you've seen anything about him or the good-looking guy with the white teeth and the beard over there, Jason Wheeler, you've probably seen something about this documentary. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Every base, I think, where we were at had a base dog. That, like, the only one, because they run in packs over there. I mean, they don't have plumbing. There's not a veterinarian, so I mean, these dogs are just running like hyenas. And we had one that we let onto our base, and some might have called her socks. We called her boots. But yep, we called it, yeah. And I remember one of our first firefights over there. As soon as the dust settled, Nick, I know you remember this. The dust settled, and here she comes trotting on through. Like, are you guys gonna keep moving? You've been in the same spot for too long. Like, no big deal. Like, to them, that's just a couple of kids throwing a football around on the street. You know, it's a firefight, big deal. So Boots had a litter, and we all decided, hey, you know, in between firefights, because before March 5th, we did not see a ton of action until then. And, you know, you do anything to pass the time and to put your mind at ease, and just some kind of a refresher, a care package for your brain or your soul, which is very important over there. And so we decided, all right, well, let's send some information out, get some care packages, and get some medicine, and raise these puppies. And where we kept the dogs at, or where the mother kept the dogs at, was right in between. Nick, you remember, it was right in between the building and the first set of chews, right, like wrapped around the corner there. And Justin slept in the building, and I slept in the chews, and it seemed like we'd always link up there. And like I said, I was new to Charlie Company, so I didn't know a ton of people other than the guys in my team and Nick, who I came in with. But that was where Justin and I kind of forged you know, a rapport, and it turned into a bond and a friendship. And then we kind of would, and I was nowhere near as close to him as somebody like Wheeler and other people, but I thought the world of him, because I thought the guy was absolutely hilarious. And I always remember thinking about him, like, how can he have a smile on his face for 95% of the time he's awake, and then go out and get into the shit that we get into out there? I mean, we've been out for 4 weeks, and my dad told me there's stuff that he never knew we even did, that he's heard since we've been doing this. I mean, you guys know what it was, but to maintain that that comedian that I'm gonna talk and you're gonna laugh, and he was right. It always struck me as just an anomaly of a personality. Like, he always had a smile on his face. And I remember days where I was just full of piss and vinegar and hated being over there and couldn't stand it. It wasn't this, it wasn't that, and you'd run into him and it'd be like, all right, you know, cheer up, you ain't going home for a while. But so we started sending photos home of the dogs, and I sent some to my parents, and I know a lot of us did. And it was a puppy in a place of horror. So I think as grown men, even though we didn't want to admit to it, we gravitated towards that innocence. Like, man, you have no idea what it looks like out there, but we're going to keep you here and keep you safe, so you don't have to, and we can keep playing with you and feel like little kids again, and kind of, you know, laugh about it. And like I said, you'll take what you can get over there. And as it turns out, Rhonda and Skip Rollins, who I'd like to say hello to and give a shout out and thank you for giving me the blessing to tell this story. Those were some of the last photos they saw of Justin happy and before he passed on March 5th with Dutch. And they decided that, you know, those are the last memories that he had. We want the dog. And I always say the dog, even when talking to Rhonda today, I always say the dog, because it never had a name until it had a home. So, you know, they were just the pups, you know, we'd go see them. But so they got after it, and after I don't know if it was dozens of phone calls to anywhere that could pull a string for them, they got an answer at Congressman Hode's office, Congressman New Hampshire, and um, after he put the weight of his commitment to this, his commitment won over, and on Memorial Day weekend, 13 years ago, Hero, the pup, came home. And I actually talked to Rhonda before this, and I thought that it was unbelievable that it was actually 13 years ago to this weekend that Hero came home, and that's the name. And in classic Rollins fashion, there they are sitting in the congressman's office with the press corps, and everybody waiting to, put this feel good story on the news, and the dog walks in, and the first thing it does is squat on the congressman's floor and take a piss. So you had to think it had a little bit of a Justin soul in it, because that I talked to Skip today, and we had definitely had a good laugh over it. But that wasn't where, and a lot of that story can be told on the Animal Plan documentary that I was talking about earlier, and Wheeler's has a good part in that. But that wasn't where the trials and tribulations ended for this dog. The incredible part, if you haven't heard one already, to get a congressman to pull a congressional and get a Iraqi stray dog, like Jason said, or like Wheeler said, he hit the puppy lottery. And in 2014, had a house fire. Long story short, Skip and Rhonda came home and the house was burning, and they basically were told the dog either got out or it didn't. But a minute later, a firefighter walked by with Hero, and Rhonda said the dog still had steam coming off of it, and she was dead. She was dead to this world, and they requested permission to take the dog to the vet. And 2 minutes later, halfway to the vet, inexplicably, Hero woke up from gone to someone stepped in and said, no, not this dog, not not the last thing that his parents have to hold on to Justin with. No, not today. And Hero is 13 and a half years old and still alive to this day. And I absolutely love that story for them. And I know Wheeler, you had a huge part in prepping the dog and getting it. I mean, we all were so thrilled to get it there. I remember riding in the Humvees thinking, this is like one of the more bomb stretches of road. If something happens and something jumps off right now, please, for the love of God, let the dog make it out okay. And we say that lightly, but dead serious, 100% serious, because there's not one of us to the man would have, you couldn't have paid us a sum of money in the world to give Ron and Skip bad news again. So, we wanted to do everything we could to get the dog there. And I just thought, what an amazing story that it made it home, and refused to go anywhere, and is still here to this day. So I also, I just wanted to compliment and tell Ron and Skip, well, if they're watching, Ron and Skip Rollins, what amazing people I think they are, and the resolve that it shows to put together the Patriot Guard, and doing a ride for Justin every year. And on the 10th year, they were still averaging in between 200 and 300 bikes 10 years in a row. And Skip ran for state representative and said he'd do it under one condition: he was only working with the VA. So instead of next time you think you're having a bad day, these two wonderful people lost their son and did not give up, and refused to let his legacy go anywhere, and put skin in the game, and are still fighting for veterans. So I salute Ron and Skip, and Justin. We love you. We know you're out there, and I'll send it back to you, Nick.
I got it, brother. Wow. Yeah. That's why I got my shades on, guys. I mean, extremely moving. So I'm introducing Jason Wheeler. Okay. Jason was part of First Platoon. Uh, I personally, all the guys in there, we all shared our moments together, whether it was in the gym or, you know, out of the wire, whatever it may be. But Jason, you can definitely describe these people, and I'm gonna let you do that, all right, and honor them. But before we do that, I just want to send a quick message out to everybody, all right. You're partying, you're drinking this weekend, like have fun with it, but don't be an idiot and get behind the wheel, okay? The reason I bring this up is because we're honoring our brothers that were fallen, that we lost in Iraq, all right. But I specifically want to honor Daniel Booger, okay? And I'm going to keep this real short. I'm not going to go into a long soapbox, but he went through the depths of hell in Iraq with us, all right, only to return home and get killed by a drunk driver, literally by a drunk driver in his car. We found out, I think we were Advon or whatever. I found out that following morning at 3 a.m, I get a phone call about Danny. Like everybody loved Danny. Danny was charismatic. He was an amazing leader. He was compassionate and funny. And a drunk driver killed him after everything that he went through. So trash talkers, trash talk community, like go have fun, go do your thing, but be smart about it. That's all I got. Mike, over to you, Jason. Thanks for coming, brother.
Well, I was lucky to get to hang out with Danny. I think he came from either second or third platoon, and he was an awesome addition to first platoon when he did come over. So me and him got pretty close over the few months that I got to hang out with him. I'm gonna share a couple quick words on multiple people, all of which are from first platoon. Some of which I knew better than others, and some of which I wish I knew a little bit more. Justin Estes came with us from second platoon with was a story, and basically he was like the company barber. He's always in good spirits, big guy, very likable. I didn't get to hang out with him a whole bunch, but like they said earlier, he left his truck, his safety really, when the first truck got blown up that day, and he knew that he was going to help guys, and he didn't know what was going to happen from there, and you know what happened. So Josh Boyd was the medic on that mission. I didn't know a whole lot about him except for he was former infantry and got out. I think he came back in as a medic after 2001. He didn't like to shower a whole lot, but he was a great guy. So he had the infantry and the medic side. Ryan Bell was the driver that day. Any military person knows the cardinal rule. If his wife's on, or ex-wife or ex-fiance's, you might close your ears. Don't marry a stripper. He made that mistake. Andrew Perkins, he's probably the nicest person anybody could ever meet in their lives, and would do anything for anybody. He was like Estes. He was the driver of the second truck. And if you've never been on a patrol, the drivers don't get out of the trucks normally. So he left his truck, he left his position to go try and help Stanley and Bell, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice for it. Corey Costers was new to us in Samara. I found particular pleasure messing with Corey. He was very shy, he was very young, so I would crawl into bed with him and hug him very tightly and tell him I love him, and then make him say it back to me. Arthur, a lot of people don't consider the interpreters. Arthur was a local national. He was from Baghdad. He was 2 months younger than me, and he used to always tell me that he wanted me to come back when things calm down. We go to Baghdad, we get so many bitches. Robert Stanley. So when I first got to Charlie Company, my background is a little bit different than most people in the military. I came to Charlie Company. It was the first platoon I was ever in. It was the only platoon I was ever in, and I held just about every position in that platoon for 8 years while I was there. But Stanley was the first nice person that I met there. Stanley brought me into his room. 5 minutes later, Kevin Sheehy kicked me out. Stanley brought me back in. 5 minutes later, Kevin Sheehy kicked me out. And that went on for hours the first night until they started making me take double shots of Everclear out of M203 casing. And I don't drink Everclear anymore. I've had mostly good times with Stanley. Some very bad times with Stanley. He did threaten to shoot me once, and luckily Bobby Autry was there to stop that from happening, because I refused to leave his house until we were on good terms again. Stanley's house was also the go-to party house. I don't know if anyone on here knows Gordon, but Gordo is a very big, strong person, and he got drunk there towards the end of my time in Charlie Company a lot, and we had to tie him down to a chair at Stanley's house because he kept threatening to beat up everybody doing PT in the morning. The notes I printed off earlier are gone now. Stanley also liked to drink, like the rest of us. His wife Jamie one night thought somebody was breaking into their house and shot him in the hand. Stanley was just trying to get in the front door. He could tell you anything about weapons. He's, again, one of the nicest people in the world. He's part of the reason why First Platoon is what it was. So Stanley was in there from day one. I came in there shortly after. The good thing about First Platoon is that the people that we deployed with were together for so long that it was a very cohesive team. You didn't need to sit there and talk to each other on missions. You knew what everybody was going to be doing, and everybody knew their jobs. It was a very good mentality. There wasn't a whole lot of, hey, what do I do? You just look at somebody and they knew what the hell was supposed to happen. But with Stanley and then with Craig, when he came over, we'd all been together for so long, it was very easy transitions. So the last person is Rollins. Rollins was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting to become a buddy of some private first class when I was in E6. Obviously, that's not the thing that most people are supposed to do. And once he learned that there's playtime and work time, it worked out pretty well. He borrowed money from me. He bought like a Trans Am or a Firebird. I don't remember what it is. I think his brother still got it. He got it stuck down by the Ranger training course. Like the first week, he kept doing donuts on, was it Long Street? And then we drank a lot. He'd sit there, wait while I was talking to my now wife and play with his nipples so that I could get off the phone and then go drink with him. I think I slapped him once for peeing in a mop bucket. On mission at the North ECP in Samara, he had to use the restroom, and we play jokes. That's why people join the military. They either don't know what they're going to do in life, they have no better option, they're going to go to jail, or some people actually want to really serve their country. But I don't. Rollins was serve your country, and mine was I don't know what to do at this point, so I'll go in the military. But he had to use the bathroom, and I told him just stay in eyesight. So he goes out and he's in eyesight. He chooses to sit on the bumper of the front of the truck and take crap. So I, of course, turn the light bar on, which if you don't know is a very bright daytime light, and this is nighttime. And then somebody starts shooting at him. So I immediately turn it off, and he pulled his pants up and jumped back in the truck. And that's kind of the relationship we had. He fucked with me. I fucked with him. It was fun. I miss him. Another time we were at OP-13. And if I remember right, I think that's the trench range. And First Sergeant Perez surprised us and got us a GP medium for all of us to sleep in. So we got to eat hot chow that night, and then we all went in there and went to sleep. So this will tell you how close people get in the military. If you're cold, you hug your buddy's ass. I fell asleep hugging Stanley's ass with my hand in the crick of his knee. And then we woke up together. We're like, oh, this is weird. Went back to sleep. Woke up the next morning and icicles had formed on the exhaust tubes exiting the tent. And if you haven't tried it, grab an icicle and give it to a kid. They're either going to stab you with it or they're going to stick it in their mouth. Rollins stuck it in his mouth, which essentially means he made out with everybody in that tent that night because the icicle was formed from all of our breath. And the last thing I guess I'll say about Rollins is Rhonda and Skip, if you're listening, you might not. Rollins, he won the smallest penis contest. He beat out Craig, who is saved as light switch in my cell phone, which will tell you about the size of his manhood. Minus the manhood down there, Rollins's manhood up here was top notch, as were the rest of the guys. As you can tell, like Nick was talking about, suicide. I think we've had at least 3 guys from Charlie Company commit suicide. We had Nick, and then some of the guys that were even when I got there, Vines recently committed suicide, and Wilson recently committed suicide maybe 2-3 years ago. Choose how to deal with it. If you don't know how to deal with it, talk to your buddies. they'll do anything for you. They absolutely will. Anybody on this page will do anything for anybody they served with or didn't serve with. If you have the option and you have the mentality, choose to deal with it with humor, which is what I do. You can laugh about anything, which is what makes the military fun. A lot of times it fucking sucks, but it's what sucks is what's funny. And with that, I'll leave to one time that I just popped into my head that really sucked. We were at a range. We were supposed to walk back to the barracks. We ended up not walking back, but we didn't know that. And it rained all fucking night. Craig painted his full body, wrapped his nods around his nutsack, and walked around and cheered everybody up. So it's just about finding the humility in a moment of suck that will change your whole mentality. So if you're in a moment of suck, find out something fucking funny. Talk to your buddies you used to serve with. They're going to make you laugh, or they're going to tell you to shut the hell up and drive down to wherever you're at and beat the crap out of you, and everything will be all right. That's it.
Hey, thanks, Jason. That was awesome, unfreaking believable. We have stories about these guys, and God, we love every single one of them. We'll have some time here after Beckwith is done, but a question was asked: who was the Silver Surfer by Major Johnson, aka Green Six? So he's now a surgeon, because he went to the dark side and didn't want to fight anymore. But we love him. But yeah, Major Johnson, his name is Craig. He's the Silver Surfer. He'd come get you.
I have a video if you'd like it.
My favorite story about Rollins for me was the first Hey U2 detail I got put on in the 82nd was shoot shake out with Rollins. And I walk into the hangar and I hear this, hey. And I look over and it's Rollins and he's hiding in the corner. And I was like, hey man, I don't think we're supposed to be doing this, bro. Like we gotta he's like, shut up, dude. He's like, follow me. Like, you just gotta watch the door. And I'm like, okay, I'm watching the door. I don't know what I'm watching for though, you know? And then I see him go upstairs and he's like, hey, come on. You know, so I get up the stairs and we go up 3 levels of stairs. We're now at the top of the shoot shakeout. And he goes, nobody will walk up here to look for us. We can sit here for hours and they'll be done. And then we can go home. So Ron got me out of my first crappy detail. But now that we got Buddy Beckwith, he's here. He's with us. He was one of the giants. He was one of the staff sergeants. He was one of the mean guys. And he is here to redeem himself from his last honesty cap and his last performance on the Trash Talk. But go ahead, buddy. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, you kind of screwed me for the honesty cap because you already took my Memorial Day honesty cap a little bit. But before I start, most of those guys that were part of the guys from Samara. I was in Charlie Company before I left and went over to Bravo. Went to Korea and then went to Bravo Company when I came back. And when I was there, Stan got there. Stan was a new guy, and usually we treated new guys like shit because that's what you do in the Army is treat new guys like shit. But Stan was one of those anomalies that like you try to treat like shit, no matter how much you try to treat him like shit, he would just kind of laugh. And you were like, well, I guess we don't get to treat this one like shit. And he was a fucking phenomenal dude. And he's one of the dudes that like, you know, the farther I got into my career, Charlie Company, first platoon and second platoon are basically the base of what I learned was a team and how a team was supposed to work and how a platoon was supposed to work and the relationship that a platoon and a team are supposed to have. And for that, like I can't really say anything but be grateful for it. Honesty cap time. So it's Memorial Day weekend, and a lot of veterans get on Facebook and Instagram and every other freaking Twitter and social media feed, and they bitch and whine and moan about how it's Memorial Day and it's not about barbecues and it's not about laughing and joking. It's about being serious faced and walking around and being melodramatic about all the guys that that you've lost. And I kind of bought into that myself for a little bit, and then I realized one day that every one of the dudes that I know that got killed in Iraq, Afghanistan, um, any other countless countries that people normally in America don't think about, all of those dudes liked to barbecue, drink, and talk shit to each other. So why the hell would I like? Why would you not be happy on a day that is about nothing but thinking of those dudes? Why would you not celebrate a day that's just about memorializing people that literally love to like? We're all in the army. Have you ever been to an army barbecue? It's literally grilled meats and beer. And then somebody brings like a can of beans because that's just the thing you're supposed to have and lays it on the grill and basically just marks the end of the barbecue when the beans are charred and nobody's eating them because nobody fucking eat beans. They just eat meat. And they don't even eat it off plates because they're animals. They just grab it off the grill. Done, not done. Salmonella, who gives a shit? It's just wings. Let's do it. Drank water out of the Tigris. I'm not worried about your salmonella right now. Like, Memorial Day is about celebrating dudes that love to have a good time, not celebrating the last few minutes of their lives, but celebrating the rest of their lives and what they left behind. And what they left behind was great memories with great dudes that would do anything for them. So just think about that when you're at your barbecue and you're trying to have a pity party for yourself and feeling bad. Those dudes wouldn't fucking feel bad. They'd be having a great time with their families and their friends. They'd be drinking a beer and maybe taking a second or two, a couple minutes to stop, think about those guys, take a swig, and then carry on with your fucking life. Happy Memorial Day.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I'm telling you what, that was lights out. You've redeemed yourself. We're still not going to pay you though. You're an unpaid intern. You're getting all the experience that you need and want for a life as like a star like me, and you'll get there one day. You were my star. I'm your star now. I will take that role on for you. Now with Jason, Rhonda came on the thread and said, "Thanks. I didn't need to know all of that." So she learned some. She learned some more, and you know, we love her, and we're glad she's watching. And does anybody have any other stories about those guys? Coster, like Jason mentioned, I knew Costers because we were the same rank, and we played poker together. And he was just a great kid, just awesome, And I love talking about these guys. It's my therapy. Like I said, the story I told today, I told 3 people the whole story. People know bits and pieces of it, but only 3 people in my entire life that I told that story to. So cheers, guys. Please share a couple more stories. We got a couple minutes left. If you know any of the guys.
Hey, just I don't have a story queued up, but just for our brothers that are watching, if you were on Patrol Base Olson, I raise my glass to you. What's up, Carlos Chilton? Hopefully you're tuned in and like what you see.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, come on our page, guys. Put people on there that we can drink to this weekend. Let everybody read their stories. We're getting the following. And it's great. Keep coming on there, and we'll send it to Dave now, and he's gonna take it home.
Hey, I got one more story if you want to hear it.
Send it.
So you guys know Corey Marachek? He died in the Afghanistan deployment. So here's a quick story. Corey Marachek turns out to be my second cousin. I didn't know he was my cousin until I met him the night before we deployed. We met at Bennigan's, had some drinks, had some dinner. and then he was killed with Lester O'Kinney and those guys about a month and a half later. So the veteran community is a very, 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 very small world. So just to reiterate, talk to your buddies, talk to your brothers, talk to your friends. There's no need for anybody to go alone, feeling down. That's about it.
Thanks, brother. And like you alluded to just now, that's what this page is about. I'm going to read you guys a quick message that I got the other day on Messenger. I can't share his name. He does want to come on the show eventually, possibly. He's got like some startup going on business-wise, but he didn't want me to mention his name. He does know that I'm reading this message, though. Hey, Trenton, just wanted to hit you up. It's been a while, brother. I think it's awesome what you and the old 2P crew are doing and the community you guys are building. When I got out back in 2010, I figured it was the best choice of my life, especially with family and all. Well, I learned real quick shit isn't greener on the other side. Moving back to a small town, blah, 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 was nice at first, but after a while, I truly missed the brotherhood, and I started going through some dark times. Nobody can relate around here or even understand the shit we witnessed overseas. It was rough, man. I just think it's great you guys created this community for vets to come on and let off some steam. I don't really post much, but I'm constantly laughing my ass off, and it feels good to be surrounded by brothers and sisters who are like-minded. Anyhow, work is calling. Take it easy, brother. And that's the type of shit that we're here for. So go ahead. Hey, keep supporting us. And I'm going to have you on. I'm not going to say your name, but you are coming on this show. All right. I appreciate the message, but keep supporting us. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram. Keep sharing the crap out of our page. Okay. This is what it's all about. It's creating that community so we can just all come out here and let loose. Okay. Merch is coming soon. Veteran Trash Talk. All right. And that's all I got. Great show, guys.
Okay, yeah, one last thing. We finally linked up with StopSoldierSuicide.org. Right, so a bunch of our sales are going to go to them. And so, like I said, when you support us, when you share us, you give more advertisement, free business advertisement for our brothers and sisters. And the more you buy, the more that we send money to StopSoldierSuicide.org. That's who we're going to link up with. So remember, stay on. Please stay on. Watch the video that was made for the guys we were talking about. It's a beautiful video, and grab a Kleenex box while you're watching it. Other than that, Suds, you can send it.